welcome back to the morning show here on Arise News. Fashion Week was all about the breathtaking pieces, the runway and the beautiful models. We got the chance to sit down with some of the super talented designers that showcased their pieces at Arise Fashion Week. I caught up with New York-based designer Washington Roberts, who gave an insight into the different shopping behavior of his clients in Nigeria and the United States. Let's take a look. It's Fashion Week here at Rise Fashion Week 2018, and we are with one of the greatest designers that grace the runway, Washington Roberts. His name is actually Washington. I was actually going to say, how are you doing? Tell us actually your real name. But your name is Washington Roberts. Yeah. So tell us a bit about how your parents came up with Washington.
Oh, I honestly can't really answer that, but all I know is growing up, I didn't like Washington at all. But my last name wasn't always that, so my dad changed my last name to his first name. So I guess it went his legacy to live on.
Okay, so your first name is Washington.
Yeah.
But your last name is?
Roberts.
Roberts.
Yeah.
Okay, so it is
Washington Roberts, yeah.
Okay, but now you're using it as your trace, you're using it
as a brand, yeah.
And it's your brand.
Yeah.
So now you've obviously, you're now comfortable with the name.
Yeah, I grew into it. So, I mean, like, I'm going to school here because you have the roster, so kids are going to tease you, and every time my name will be called, I will be and I always sat in the back of the class. So, like Washington, they'd be like, Washington. You know what I mean? So it's like, oh, okay. So like I grew into it. So now it's just like, it's my name.
No, but now it's one of the sought after African brands here. So
really?
Yes, because everybody loves Washington Roberts.
I guess
on the runway, especially.
For me, I guess it's kind of weird because people I feel like because people don't really know my face, which is sort of like how I want it, but at the same time it doesn't, because Nigeria, it's different. People want to know you. They want to personalize before they actually can make purchases. Where in New York, no one cares. If the clothes is beautiful, they're just going to buy it. Here.
So how is it different, really? Because that's one nuance, that's one difference between New York and Nigeria, because you're based in New York. Yeah. So what's it like, the buying? How do your customers relate?
It's about the clothes. It's not really about, obviously, like, if they like your stuff, they're going to buy it. And sometimes always good to have those personal client where they're doing the so like, the personal client, it's almost like hair, but it's not so personalized. Here, I feel like it's super, super different. I'm having to learn how to sort of navigate the Nigerian market, but I think I'm doing a good job of it so far.
Yeah, no, you definitely are.
But I think so. Like here, example, like in New York, everybody want to wear what celebrities are wearing. Here, I've come to realize it's the opposite.
No, really? Okay, give us an example.
Without saying any name, but people that have the money that can afford the clothes. Don't want to wear what everybody else is wearing because they're the Madame of Lagos. So you get what I mean. So that's the other angle, and so I'm coming to realize that. So you have to be very careful who you give your clothes to wear.
He was so interesting because he gave us an insight on what it is like with shoppers in the US and shoppers in Nigeria. So he did say, you know, if you're the Madame of Lagos, you don't really want to wear what celebrities in Nigeria are wearing, which I found very interesting. That's probably the case in some cases, actually. It depends on the client, really.
I think everybody likes to have their own design. Like
custom
design.
Custom made. So hopefully we'll see the rest of that interview as well, because he did say some interesting things about where he actually makes his pieces and why it's a bit difficult for him to actually work here. Fully, because he's actually based in New York.
Yeah, interesting. So but do you think designers here are very accessible? Because in New York, like in other countries, how do you get to see like the designer behind the brand? You literally just go to the store and so maybe that's why...
No, designers here are much more accessible than the US,
That's
UK.
why you can have them design something
no, that's not the way it's actually supposed to be. And that's probably one of the reasons why designers are sometimes overworked, because they're always seeing clients, because clients want to see the designer as opposed to maybe the person that's assisting them. So,
Well, that's funny. Well, I caught up with the South African duo behind the label KLUK CGDT. Christian and Malcolm were a delight to talk to, and being together for over a decade, their brand has definitely come to stay. Let's take a look at the interview. And we are still at Arise Fashion Week 2018, and I'm joined by Kristen and Malcolm of KLUK CGDT.
Well done, you've done it.
I know, I told you earlier, I thought CGDT was like... It's nice to be sitting with you here. How are you?
Very good, and you?
We're very good, thank you.
Great. And well, okay, we'll start off with some not so good news. We heard about Winnie's passing earlier today. She was a strong woman, and one thing I remember about her is her fashion game. I feel like her fashion game was at 100.
Yes.
She brought like South African fashion to the world. The big shoulders, the cap, the neck piece, all of that. So how do you feel now about her passing?
You know, we grew up with such great icons, and she was really one of them, not only in her politics, but in her presence. And her look was part of that. She walked into a room and you really noticed who she was. And it was impressive, and it's very sad because Nelson, Winnie, Miriam Makeba, these are great people, and we've lost them. It's a sad day.
Do we have people that would like do as good? Right now I'm looking around and I'm like, what is going on?
Well, I know.
Their legacy, I think, is spread around the world, and I think that's why we are in Lagos, and that's why we have Michelle Obama, and these are the people that have followed in their legacy and are inspiring a whole world rather than just a country.
Just a country. Okay, so how important to you, Kristen, do you think style is to a public figure?
You know what, I think it's, if we take Winnie for example, she did power dressing. I mean, with the big shoulders and the headgear, even though it was also a cultural thing, it was about being in power and walking into a room and getting, everyone's attention. And I think there is something about that, and I think it's all about being comfortable in what you wear and portraying that. And I think a lot of celebrities sometimes don't get it as right as others.
If you think about it, it's the first thing a person notices when you walk in a room is what you look like.
Absolutely.
So it is as important.
Yeah. You know that saying, dress how you want to be addressed?
Exactly.
Absolutely.
There's that saying.
Exactly.
You heard it here. Okay, let's talk about your label. You've been together for what, 15 years? And yours is a funny story because you were a designer on your own and you were a designer on your own, and then you decided to come together.
We opened a store together in Cape Town, and I would see customers and Christian would see customers, and they ended up saying, well, if he's here too, can't we see him as well? And we ended up seeing everyone together. And the brands were sort of semi-established back then, and so it was difficult to change to a new label. So we just put the two labels together and created this weird brand that people remember for its difficulty. Yes, exactly.
Yes. But how has that been, working together, doing designs together now?
You know what, I think because it was such a beautiful progress of the labels coming together, it wasn't forced. It works actually very well because it wasn't like we were making up roles, you will be doing that, I will be doing that. It was sort of just seamless, absolutely. And we're very strict with each other. So even when we do see a client together and we sort of sketch out, we'll be very honest and say, you know what, I don't like what you're drawing for because don't you think this and this will work better? And therefore the customer trusts us even more so because she's got two people's input.
Two good heads.
So hopefully the end result is just so much better.
Oh yeah, it was really nice talking to them. And it was that morning, the morning of the interview, that we heard that Winnie Mandela had passed. So we talked about her fashion, and you were saying during the break.
She's such an icon. She's a fashion icon, and it's just great to see when you see politicians' wives who are very fashionable, because a lot of the spotlight is on them. So it's great when they actually have a fashion sense, because there's always something to look forward to when you see them. And Winnie Mandela was one of those women that really absolutely took fashion in South Africa to the next level. And she did wear a lot of South African designers as well, which is also very great for them and the promotion of South Africa.
Yeah, that's what we talked about like just putting South African fashion to the world. And she was more of a politician herself.
Yeah, exactly.
Than a politician's wife. She was out there. She was doing her thing. She was the one thing I remember about her is standing by her husband.
Yeah, exactly. So when you saw her,
ride or die.
When you saw her, she was always dressed well.
Yeah.
So you would always have time to look at her, and it wasn't just about Nelson Mandela. It was about her as well, and that came from her dress sense as well.
Exactly.
So it is really like what you said, dress the way you want to be
addressed, which is what Malcolm said as well. He said fashion is important for public figures because they see you first before they hear you. But let's talk about their pieces. I found some of them a bit really risque.
Yeah, it's South Africa. They're quite risque over there on that side of the water. They're very risky.
I found some of them risque, but then I found some of them to be actually very nice, and they put it together. They had one of the largest collections at Arise Fashion Week, because some people came out with like 14 looks. They came out with like 20-something looks. So yes, big up to them. And one thing we did not get to watch, by the way, the interview will be made. The interview will be showing soon on Arise News. But one thing they said was they want to open a store in Lagos.
Oh wow!
Like they're actually thinking of expanding to Lagos. So.
Well, it's nice to see duos.
Yes.
So it shows that people can actually work together and be in partnership.
For 15 years, these guys.
They're setting a good example for people who are working together, giving them hope that you don't have to be alone to actually create a brand.
Succeed.
You can actually have a duo that works well.
If you want to go fast,
yes, I know it's alone, and if you want to go
far, go together.
Go together. So that's
so proud of myself this morning.
Yeah, well done, well done. She's dropping nuggets this morning.
Nuggets, yes. Well, we are going on a short break now, but don't change that channel, because we'll be bringing you a list of our top 5 authentic cuisine from around the world. Stay with us.